Lawyers sometimes.
We have a law student or a lawyer here, I guess. And then the first day of my senior year, I followed a brunette into the auditorium, and they were doing an audition for Bye Bye Birdie. And I'd never seen the play, and I hadn't seen the movie, but I had seen the trailer to the movie, and I knew it was about a guy with a gold suit who did a parody of Elvis Presley. And I said, I think I'll audition for that. I think I'll try to meet the girl. Eventually, they didn't give me the part of the guy with the gold suit, but I did meet the girl. Later, I married the girl. We had 3 daughters. And the next thing you know, I said, how hard could it be? Kids can do it. And I went to New York and got lucky. You got to get lucky. I auditioned for a girl asked me to do a scene in her class. And then she asked me to do it for an agent. And the agent said, are you represented? And I said, no. And he said, I want to send you on an interview. And one thing leads to another. I got a Broadway play, and next thing you know, I'm working in movies.
Actually, can you talk a little bit about the second film tonight, which was your first movie, Reflections in a Golden Eye? How did you end up getting that? You basically started your career, working with this titans, Marlon Brando, Elizabeth Taylor, and John Huston. How did you end up in that film?
All right, so I go to New York. I get this Broadway play. Circumstances are luck. The kind of thing that you always say to yourself, boy, if the guy hadn't been there, he wouldn't have gotten that, and that's the way it is. But I get in this Broadway play. The play closes. By the time it closes, the agent who put me in the play had gotten me a screen test at 20th Century Fox. They put me under contract for $245 a week, a big amount of money as far as I was concerned. I got married to that brunette. We drove out to Los Angeles. We took an apartment on Fountain Avenue. In those days, it took 3 days or so to get a phone installed. The first phone call is from the agent. The agent says, you know who John Huston is? I say, no, I don't. He says, well, he's a big guy in this business, and he wants to meet you for Reflections in a Golden Eye. I read it quick. I jumped on an airplane to fly to New York City. It's a hot, bright Saturday afternoon. I find this hotel on Madison Avenue. I'm going to meet this John Huston. I walk into the lobby, and everywhere I look, everywhere, there's guys. They all look like me. I said, geez, I thought he wanted to meet me for Reflections in a Golden Eye. This is a cattle call. I took a hike. I walked around Midtown for a couple of hours talking to myself, Bob, you better go back. I mean, you came all the way from California. Go on back and talk to the guy. I went back. There were less guys. They put my name at the bottom of the list. There was always a list. I waited for a while. Somebody calls my name. They escort me up the elevator. We wait outside of a room. Somebody leaves. I'm escorted in. I'm introduced to this tall, old guy. What have you done? What have you done? John Huston, for anybody who doesn't remember him. I said, look, I haven't done much. I did one Broadway play. I wasn't bad, but I don't make myself an actor. I never did a movie. I don't know how they're made. I don't know what the tricks are. But if you hire me, I'll give you your money's worth. It was that long, I'm telling you. He said, Ray Starr, you remember Ray Starr, big producer. Come in here, Ray, I'd like you to be an actor. And I'm thinking, who is this guy? And I told him I only did it once. I didn't want to oversell myself. The little guy comes in, I shake hands with him. The big guy says, you'll be hearing from us. I figure that's the end of it. That's the kiss-off.
Actually, I've heard that he kept on telling you that he was going to give you some kind of instruction on how to act on the screen, and he kept on delaying and kept on delaying.
Well, yes, indeed. All right. So, do we have 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
I leave that meeting. I jump on an airplane. I fly back to out here, and I stop in Rochester to say hello to my father. This is 2 hours after the meeting. My father says, when I get off the airplane in Rochester, he says, "Quick, call your agents. They just made a deal." I didn't know they worked that fast. That's how fast I got this job. It was a cinch, it seemed. I came back out to Los Angeles. A couple of days later, the agents arranged a telephone call between me and this John Huston. I'm on the phone with him. I say, look, I said, I appreciate the fact that you hired me. I said, and I thank you very much. I said, but do you remember I told you I never did a movie? He says, I remember. And reading my mind, he says, I'll give you some instruction. I meet him again out here in Western costume about a month later. I go straight to him. I say, look, they sent me the script, and I read the script, and you said you had some instructions for me. What are they? And he says, but not yet. I figure, you know, he's the boss. Maybe he's going to take me to lunch. Maybe he's going to take me on a set somewhere. Days go by, nobody calls. Weeks go by, nobody calls. They turn into months, during which time Montgomery Clift dies and has to be replaced by Marlon Brando, who was not the original guy, Montgomery Clift. Finally, I get a call. We're going to meet on Long Island for 10 days of shooting at an old military base, and then we're going to Rome, Italy for 12 weeks. Wow. That's what I said. I show up 3 days early on Long Island at this military base, and I go straight to Houston. I say, look, all summer long I've been reading this script, and you said you had some instructions for me. What are they? And he says, but not yet. I don't know what he's waiting for. Now it's the night before we're going to shoot. We're all having dinner at a long table, everybody in the cast and crew. I'm sitting here, John Huston sitting right there. All during dinner, I assume he's going to lean over and toss me these pearls of wisdom. At the end of dinner, I say, look, we're going to shoot this thing starting tomorrow. Don't you think now's the time to give me those instructions? He says, tomorrow morning, Bobby. Tomorrow morning finally comes. They put me in makeup, they put me in wardrobe, they stick me in a car, they drive me to the set, the car comes to a stop, I get 1 foot out the back door when I hear Huston say, now's the time, Bobby. Shoot, I said, I'm all ears. He says, go take a look through the lens. This was an old Mitchell. Remember the parallax viewfinder? Okay, the guy cranked it over. I looked through the lens. He said, you see that line? See those? Those are the frame lines. I said, you mean the line that shows the cameraman what the audience sees? He says, those are the frame lines. Now ask yourself this. What needs to be there? He opened the door for something that has been a lifelong curiosity and an instructive first Zen-like piece of advice. The actor, first of all, do you have 2 minutes for this? 1 minute for this? The actor does not know precisely what he's going to do there unless he's done the detective work and figure out what the writer intended. First, you got to do the detective work. You got to figure out why you're in the scene and why the scene is constructed the way it is and why that scene is in the movie. So that when you hear action, you can deliver that small fraction that the writer intended. That isn't the end of it. The director may have some needs. You may have to make an entrance or an exit or say some dialogue or push some props around. You have to know from the director what the director needs from you so that you can deliver that when you hear action. That isn't the end of it. The guy who set the lights wants you to be in them. The one listening for the words got to hear them correctly, otherwise at the end of the shot somebody says, no good for sound, start again. If you do something too big for the shot you're in, somebody behind the lens says, no good for composition, start again. If you push the prop and put it in the wrong spot, somebody says, no good for continuity, start again. The actor cannot get from action to cut, print, and move on to the next shot until he has delivered a stroke which advantages everybody's needs at once. That isn't the end of it. The other actor may have to do this emotionally in a scene. It's your job to build him a little ramp so the other actor can do this emotionally in a scene. Everybody needs something from you, including the one who's editing this picture. You've got to understand, if you can, what the roller coaster of this movie is going to look like when you finish so that you can contribute to the downs and the ups. And going around the curves, if you're not believable, your audience won't be with you at the end of the ride. You owe something to your audience as well. And for the one who hired you, you've got to help bring this movie in on time by being ready on that first, second, third take so that you aren't there all day long so that you can help bring this guy's picture in on time. You owe something to everybody. Now, I remind everybody here that it sounds like a really hard job, but I know actors, I include myself, who I would not trust with a grocery list, who can do that 8 days a week. It is not that hard to deliver an action which advantages more than just yourself. All you got to do is want to. All you got to do is put your mind to it. And like all the rest of us, like actors, you can deliver better strokes all day long as long as you're willing to give the other person the best of it. And that is the basic central metaphor in this little program that I do. Anybody needs a free speaker, I am a...